Oh, the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind, for it is the only thing I want. Heaven is the decision I must make. Ed or Jed, you want to sing? Ooh. Okay, that's probably enough. Okay, here, let's outward. Let's sing. Heaven is the decision I must make. A little bit too excited there, huh? You like that song? Heaven is the decision I must make. Well, this is old Ed, or Jed. I called him Ed. I don't know why. That's my middle name. Anyway, this is Jed, and I'm Forgiveness Willie, teaching forgiveness from the Ozarks. And we've got, we're ready for lesson 138 in A Course in Miracles, and we're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles this year, for Sunday, May the 18th of 2025, and it's the Thursday preceding that while the day I'm recording this. Heaven is the decision I must make. In this world, heaven is a choice, because here we believe there are alternatives to choose between. We think that all things have an opposite, and what we want, we choose. If heaven exists, there must be hell as well. For contradiction is the way we make what we perceive, and what we think is real. Creation knows no opposite. But here is opposition part of being, in quotes, real. Let's be real. It is this strange perception of the truth that makes the choice of heaven seem to be the same as the relinquishment of hell. It is not really thus. Yet what is true in God's creation cannot enter here until it is reflected in some form the world can understand. Truth cannot come where it could only be perceived with fear. For this would be the error. Truth can be brought to illusions. Opposition makes the truth unwelcome, and it cannot come. Choice is the obvious escape from what appears as opposites. Decision lets one of conflicting goals become the aim of effort and expenditure of time. Without decision, time is but a waste and effort dissipated. It is spent for nothing in return, and time goes by without results. There is no sense of gain, for nothing is accomplished, nothing learned. You need to be reminded that you think 1,000 choices are confronting you, when there is really only one to make. And even this but seems to be a choice. Do not confuse yourself with all the doubts that myriad decisions would induce. You make but one, and when that one is made, you will perceive it was no choice at all. For truth is true, and nothing else is true. There is no opposite to choose instead. There is no contradiction to the truth. Choosing depends on learning, and the truth cannot be learned, but only recognized. The truth cannot be learned, but only recognized. In recognition, its acceptance lies, and as it is accepted, it is known. But knowledge is beyond the goals we seek to teach within the framework of this course. Ours are teaching goals to be attained through learning how to reach them, what they are and what they offer you. Decisions are the outcome of your learning, for they rest on what you have accepted as the truth of what you are and what your needs must be. just to make that a little clearer in my mind, it might help you, is you can't really learn the truth of who you are, because that's just something that you don't have to learn it, because you already know it. It's just that you've blocked that part of your mind because of your beliefs that are contrary to knowledge or to truth. In this insanely complicated world, heaven appears to take the form of choice rather than merely being what it is. Of all the choices you have made to make, this is the simplest, most definitive, and prototype of all the rest, the one which settles all decisions. If you could decide the rest, this one remains unsolved. But when you solve this one, the others are resolved with it. For all decisions but conceal this one by taking different forms. Here is the final and the only choice in which is truth accepted or denied. Heaven is the decision I must make. So we begin today considering the choice that time was made to help us make. Such is its holy purpose, now transformed from the intent you gave it, that it be a means for demonstrating hell is real. Hope changes to despair, and life itself must in the end be overcome by death. In death alone are opposites resolved, for ending opposition is to die, and thus salvation must be seen as death, for life is seen as conflict. To resolve the conflict is to end your life as well. These mad beliefs can gain unconscious hold of great intensity and grip the mind with terror and anxiety so strong that it will not relinquish its ideas about its own protection. It must be saved from salvation, threatened to be safe, and magically armored against truth. And these decisions are made unaware, to keep them safely undisturbed, apart from question and from reason and from doubt. Heaven is chosen consciously. The choice cannot be made until alternatives are accurately seen and understood. All that is veiled in shadows must be raised to understanding, to be judged again, this time with heaven's help. And all mistakes in judgment that the mind has made before are open to correction, as the truth dismisses them as causeless. Now are they without effects. They cannot be concealed, because their nothingness is recognized. The conscious choice of heaven is as sure as the ending of the fear of hell, when it is raised from its protective shield of unawareness and is brought to light. We're children of the light, just walking in the light. Don't hide anything. Who can decide between the clearly seen and the unrecognized? Yet who can fail to make a choice between alternatives when only one is seen as valuable, the other as a wholly worthless thing, a but imagined source of guilt and pain? Who hesitates to make a choice like this? And shall we hesitate to choose today? We make the choice for heaven as we wake and spend 5 minutes making sure that we have made the one decision that is sane. The one decision that is sane, which is, I'm just not going to walk in darkness. I'm going to walk in light. That I'm going to be at peace. I'm going to follow joy, the kingdom of heaven. Heaven is the decision I must make. Then I'm just going to stay in a good space today. That's the decision I'm committed to stay in heaven. We recognize we make a conscious choice between what has existence and what has nothing but an appearance of the truth. Its pseudo-being, brought to what is real, is flimsy and transparent in the light. It holds no terror now, for what was made enormous, vengeful, pitiless with hate, demands obscurity, for fear to be invested there. Now it is recognized as but a foolish, trivial, mistake. And the last paragraph. Before we close our eyes and sleep tonight, we reaffirm the choice that we have made each hour in between. And now we give the last 5 minutes of our waking day to the decision with which we awoke. As every hour passed, we have declared our choice again in a brief, quiet time devoted to maintaining sanity. And finally, we close the day with this, acknowledging we chose but what we want. Heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind, because it is the only thing I want. So we're going to take 5 minutes in the morning when we wake up and hang out with this idea. Heaven is the decision I must make. I will make it now and will not change my mind, for it is the only thing I want. And then every hour of the day today, we're going to stop, if you can close your eyes, and pause for a minute or even less. Tell yourself, heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind, because it is the only thing I want. And then before you retire tonight for sleep, take 5 minutes again and hang out with that idea. Heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind, because it is the only thing I want. Okay, let's go take a look in our text reading for today. And we're in chapter 15, the Holy Instant, Roman numeral 4, practicing the Holy Instant. This course is not beyond immediate learning, unless you believe that what God wills takes time. And this means only that you would rather delay the recognition that His will is so. The Holy Instant is the instant. The Holy Instant is this instant, and every instant. The one you want it to be, it is. The one you would not have it be is lost to you. You must decide when it is. Delay it not. For beyond the past and future, where you will not find it, it stands in shimmering readiness for your acceptance. Yet you cannot bring it into glad awareness while you do not want it, for it holds the whole release from littleness. Basically, that's what our lesson's about today. Heaven is the decision I must make. You can make it now, and it's for this instant and for every instant. But you have to decide that it's important to be happy. Your practice must therefore rest upon your willingness to let all littleness go. The instant in which magnitude dawns upon you is but as far away as your desire for it. As long as you desire it not and cherish littleness instead, by so much is it far from you. By so much as you want it, will you bring it nearer. Think not that you can find salvation in your own way and have it. Give over every plan you have made for your salvation in exchange for God's. His will content you, and nothing else can bring you peace. For peace is of God, and no one beside Him. Be humble before Him, and yet great in Him. Be humble before God, but great in Him. And value no plan of the ego before the plan of God. For you leave empty your place in His plan, which you must fill if you would join with me, by your decision to join in any plan but His. I call you to fulfill your holy part in the plan that He has given to the world for its release from littleness. God would not have His host abide in perfect freedom. Excuse me, I read that wrong. God would have His host abide in perfect freedom. Every allegiance to a plan of salvation apart from Him diminishes the value of His will for you in your own mind. And yet it is your mind that is host to Him. Paragraph 4. Would you learn how perfect and immaculate is the holy altar on which your Father has placed Himself? This you will recognize in the holy instant. in which you willingly and gladly give over every plan but His. In the holy instant, you just give over every plan except the plan that God has for you, the one where you're at peace, where you see your brothers as innocent, where you see yourself as similarly innocent, where you're just hanging out knowing that you're guided in perfect love, following the will of God, because you've made the decision that heaven is the decision I must make. Okay, paragraph 4 again. Would you learn how perfect and immaculate is the holy altar on which your Father has placed Himself? This you will recognize in the holy instant in which you willingly and gladly give over every plan but His. For there lies peace, perfectly clear because you have been willing to meet its conditions. You can claim the holy instant any time and anywhere you want it. In your practice, try to give over every plan you have accepted for finding magnitude in littleness. It is not there. Use the holy instant only to recognize that you alone cannot know where it is and can only deceive yourself. Paragraph 5. I stand within the holy instant as clear as you would have me. And the extent to which you learn to accept me is the measure of the time in which the holy instant will be yours. I call to you to make the holy instant yours at once. For the release from littleness of the host of God depends on willingness and not on time. Are you willing to follow God and only God? If you are, well then that's all you need is willingness. You don't need time. You don't have to wait on time. Just be willing. Today's your lesson. You're making a firm commitment for your willingness. If you're honest with your lesson, heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind because heaven is the only thing I want. Happiness is the only thing I want. God's will is the only thing I want. Paragraph 6. The reason this course is simple is that truth is simple. Complexity is of the ego and is nothing more than the ego's attempt to obscure the obvious. You could live forever in the holy instant, beginning now and reaching to eternity, but for a very simple reason. Do not obscure the simplicity of this reason, for if you do, it will be only because you prefer not to recognize it and not to let it go. The simple reason, simply stated, is this. The holy instant is a time in which you receive and give perfect communication. We're receiving and giving perfect communication. That's the holy instant. No dark corners, no secrets, no thoughts of guilt. Just an open mind, willing to give and to receive what God has for you this day. This means, however, that it is a time in which your mind is open, both to receive and give. It is the recognition that all minds are in communication. It therefore seeks to change nothing, but merely to accept everything. Wow, all minds are in communication. You accept that? All minds are in communication. It therefore seeks to change nothing, but merely to accept everything. Can we do that? What joy will come to us when we do it. How can you do this when you would prefer to have private thoughts and keep them? The only way you could do that would be to deny the perfect communication that makes the holy instant what it is. You believe you can harbor thoughts you would not share, and that salvation lies in keeping thoughts to yourself alone. For in private thoughts known only to yourself, you think you find a way to keep what you would have alone and share what you would share. And then you wonder why it is that you are not in full communication with those around you and with God who surrounds all of you together. 8. Every thought you would keep hidden shuts communication off because you would have it so. It is impossible to recognize perfect communication while breaking communication holds value to you. Ask yourself honestly, Would I want to have perfect communication? And am I wholly willing to let everything that interferes with it go forever? If the answer is no, then the Holy Spirit's readiness to give it to you is not enough to make it yours, for you are not ready to share it with Him. And it cannot come into a mind that has decided to oppose it. For the holy instant is given and received with equal willingness, being the acceptance of the single will that governs all thought. Wow, the single will that governs all thought. So that's what we're entering into today when we say heaven is the decision I must make, and I make it now and will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. You're deciding with that one will. The will for joy, the will for innocence, the will for where all truth is. And the last paragraph, 9. The necessary condition for the holy instant does not require that you have no thoughts that are not pure, but it does require that you have none that you would keep. Now, isn't that nice? We don't have to be perfect at this. We just have to be willing to want to be perfect. The willingness to accept the kingdom of heaven. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. The necessary condition for the holy instant does not require that you have no thoughts that are not pure, but it does require that you have none that you would keep. Innocence is not of your making. It is given you the instant you would have it. Atonement would not be there were there no need for it. Atonement would not be if there were no need for it. You will not be able to accept perfect communication as long as you would hide it from yourself. For what you would hide is hidden from you. In your practice, then, try only to be vigilant against deception, and seek not to protect the thoughts you would keep to yourself. Let the Holy Spirit's purity shine them away, and bring all your awareness to the readiness for purity He offers you. Thus will He make you ready to acknowledge that you are host to God, and hostage to no one, and to nothing. You're host to God, and hostage to no one or nothing. Well, that's sweet. Okay, well, heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind, for it is the only thing I want. I'm saying that repeatedly so it'll kind of be in your mind when you leave, and take upon yourself to every hour for a minute, and then 5 minutes in the morning and the evening, hang out with that idea. Okay, what's going on around the world? International Museum Day for you people that like to go to museums. Mother Whistler's Day. No Dirty Dishes Day. I'd encourage you to keep your counters clean and your dishes clean. Now, if they're in the strainer drying, I count those as clean though. But just don't let there be any dirty dishes sitting out on your counter. Keep that kind of like an important feng shui, an important sadhana. Because as you learn to keep things around you clean, you'll begin to integrate that concept and keep your mind clean. And that's what you're kind of doing today anyway, when you're saying heaven is the decision I must make. And not just thinking it, you're actually making it, deciding, okay, I'm going to decide for God today. Ride a unicycle day. Can you ride a unicycle? Good day to learn if you don't. If you want to learn how. Visit your relatives day. Nice Sunday for going seeing family or friend. Stepmother's Day, always the Sunday after Mother's Day, so happy Stepmother's Day, all you women that have helped raise children that you didn't bear, but have been good mothers. You have a pat. The angels of heaven pat you on the back and say, good job. We all make some mistakes, but that whole concept of a negative connotations with stepmothers, we need to let that be removed far from us. and realize that that these women deserve our appreciation as passing on the torch of truth to the next generation. And World Baking Day. That'd be something that you stepmothers and mothers probably taught your children how to bake. Okay, and out of edible landscaping, we've got the Contorted Jujube, also known as the So. It's a Ziziphus jujube so, or Ziziphus jujube contorted. Has both those names. This jube is a small tree with angled zigzag branches. The fruits are round, sweet, and crisp, holding their ripe fruit longer on the tree than most varieties. Fruits ripen first in our collection. An excellent specimen tree. There's a lot of value for the homeowner from this tree because it is easy to grow. The fruits are good, fresh, and it does not take up a lot of space. A fine choice for public places, too. Brought from China in 1914 by the famous plant explorer Frank Meyer. Spaced 10 foot apart, zone 6 through 9. Okay, well, there you go, your Contorted Jujube. And our word for peace today is from the Ngatu people of the Upper Amazon. And that Upper Amazon River is also known as the Solomos River. And they're in Brazil, what's today's Brazil, the Ngatu people. And their word for peace is Tecocatu. Tecocatu, if I'm pronouncing it properly. Heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind. For it is the only thing I want. Heaven is the decision I must make. Heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind. For it is the only thing I want. You might say it's thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's making the same decision. Thy will, not mine, be done. You want heaven? Heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind. For it is the only thing I want. Heaven is the decision I must make. Heaven is the decision I must make. Heaven is the decision I must make. Tecocatu.